Outsides, insides, lasts. Okay, so are y'all on this page?
No.
Okay. So there's two parentheses. This is a little bit going back to reviewing multiplication, Shane. So kind of reviewing some multiplication of polynomials. I showed you could do a box, right? Or I said you could do distributive property. And distributive property means you multiply everything in here by everything in here. What ends up happening is these things I'm going to call the firsts. Do you see they're first in both parentheses? So all this means is I got to remember when I'm multiplying that I multiply the first things together. All right, if I did the first things, what's x times x? X squared. Those are the firsts. Then what ends up happening is I have to multiply the x by the 5 as well. I call those the outsides. The reason why I call them the outsides is because, do you see if I looked at it in a row, they're on the outside? Okay, and you're right. That would be...
Wouldn't that be last?
Hold on. That would be plus 5x. Outsides. Okay? Now the I stands for the insides. So I take that next thing, I'm looking for a different color. Here we go. I already did the x times this and x times that. I'm done with that x. The next one is the inside. So I take the 2. 2 times x is plus 2x. And then I have to do the 2 times the 5. I call those the lasts.
On the last, you do the 5 on the right?
Yeah, the 2 and the 5. The 2 times 5 is 10. Okay. It's not meant to be confusing. It's meant to help you remember to do first, outsides, insides, last. Here's what happens. The outsides and the insides give you these two things.
So it's like PEMDAS?
Okay? And they are like terms, meaning what can you do with them? You can add them together. That would give me x squared plus 7x plus 10. The like terms. When you have these particular, they're called binomials, 2 terms each, what ends up happening is if they're in this form, first the outsides and insides the last, these two are always going to be like terms. You're going to be able to add them together. Okay? So we're going to practice doing some really fast. By the way, if I did use the box, let's just remember, how did we do the box? Do you remember?
X2 on left side, X5
Yeah, well, you don't have to put it, you can put one here and one there, basically, right?
Yeah, many times. Easy.
And then we multiplied them together. That was the box method.
That's way easier.
Okay. Well, I'm going to point out to you then, where are the like terms on this one?
Top left, top right.
Mm-hmm. They're right here. So what we want to try to do, and this is where some of you that don't know your multiplication facts well, you're going to have to brush up on those. It's going to be a struggle. Like I need you to know what's 3 times 3, and 10 times 4, and 8 times 2, 8 times 2, and 3 times 5. Okay, so that's what I mean, that you might get a little overwhelmed today if you're not good with your multiplication facts, and we'll just keep working on them, because some of it's not that you never learned them, it's that you used the calculator now for so long that you kind of forgot. Okay? All right, so we ready to go fast? Okay. R times R.
R squared.
R squared. Outsides, R times 1. 1R. Insides. Lasts.
Oh, it's the bar.
What can we do? Now we add our like terms. So this becomes R squared plus 4R plus 3. When you get really good, you can start doing them in your head. So for instance, what I do for this one, I'll tell you, is I do in my head, oh, that's x squared.
Wait, who's going?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be 4r squared?
What?
Wouldn't it
We're
be 4r
multiplying.
squared?
3 times 1 is 3.
Put your hand up.
We're multiplying.
Wait, wouldn't it be 4r squared?
No.
No, for the...
No,
R squared.
we're just putting them together. 1r plus 3r is 4r. Okay, first, outside, in my head, I'm like, oh, negative 1x plus 4x, that's going to be a plus 3x. And that's going to be a minus 4. Yes. Next one. Y squared. I'm not gonna write these down. The middle, this is gonna be a negative 4y and a plus 5y. They're gonna go together to be a minus 1y. I'm gonna do my outsides and insides in my head. And then what's 5 times negative 4? Negative 20. Number 4. Firsts. N squared, I'm going to do my outsides and insides. Minus 1n, minus 2n. Those are going to be like terms. What are they? Minus 1n, minus 2n. Negative 3n. What's lasts? Negative 2 times negative 1?
Negative 2.
Negative times negative is positive. X squared. Let's do outers and inners. 2x minus 4x.
2x?
Minus 2x.
Yeah, done.
And lasts. What's negative 4 times 2?
Huh?
Negative 8. Firsts. Firsts. X squared. Outers, minus 1x minus 1x. What's minus 1x minus 1x? Count it out. Minus 1 is minus 2x. Last, what's negative 1 times negative 1? We're multiplying. The only time the reason, Braden, we're adding is because I have the outers and the inners, and they're the like terms. Okay. Here we go. First, k squared. 3k plus 3k.
6k.
Plus 9.
Try away.
Eight. What do you get? D squared. Minus 4d plus 10d.
4d?
Minus 40 d plus
oh,
10d.
I think you meant like 40, like 40.
That's plus 60. 4d as a dog. And then minus 40. I'll go a little slower. M squared plus 3m minus 3m. 0m. And then negative 3 times negative, or times positive 3 is minus 9. What was number 2 again?
This is simple. What? Oh, negative 4.
Okay. So here's a little shortcut for you. Put something out. What's 4 times negative 1?
4.
Negative 4. What's 4 plus negative 1?
4.
3. What's 5 times negative 4? Negative 20. What's 5 plus negative 4? Negative 1. What's negative 4 times 2? Negative 8. What's negative 4 plus 2? Negative 2. What's negative 2 times negative 1? 2. What's negative 2 plus negative 1? So now, that's not really what's happening, but the reason why they're added is because those happen to be the like terms when I multiply them together. So can you figure out, if I just showed you that, number one, if I told you what the end was, can you go backwards? Can you tell me what the two things to multiply would be? Anyone want to try it?
Wait, what? Work backwards?
If I said let's work backwards, knowing now what I just showed you,
Yeah.
I know the two things have to multiply to be 8. What are some things that multiply to be 8? Use your factor if you want.
2,
1 and 8, 4 and 2. The outers plus the inners have to add up to be 6. So what are they?
6, 2, 3.
B plus 4 times B plus 2. Four times 2 is 8. 4 plus 2 is 6. Okay, how about 28?
28. That's 4, 7, 2, 14, 1.
Okay, let's look at 4 and 7. But do you see how it's positive 28 and they add up to a negative, so they're going to have to be negatives. So negative 4 and negative 7. But is negative 4 plus negative 7 equal negative 16?
No.
No. Is there another one on your list that does?
Yeah.
2 and 14. So 2 times 14 is 28.
Yeah.
2 plus 14 is 16, but I need them to be negative. So this is k minus 2, k minus 14.
A lot of K's.
All right. If there's no number here, really, what's here? 1. So are there any things that multiply to be negative 20 add up to be 1? At first it doesn't look like it, but it multiplies to be negative 20, which means one has to be positive and one has to be negative. Which one's positive and which one's negative?
On this paper.
But if you negative 4 and negative plus times it positive,
Yeah, so what's negative 4 times positive 5?
negative 20,
Negative 20. What's negative 4 plus 5?
1.
1.
What do you say?
Okay, negative 30. Negative 30.
30.
What are some, okay, so now they multiply to be a negative, which means one has to be negative, one has to be positive.
3, 10.
Let's try 3 and 10. So, Santos,
No.
to make them add up to be a negative 13, they would have to both be negative though, right?
Yeah.
And that wouldn't work because they multiply to be a positive. Something else on the list.
Oh, 5, 6.
Okay, let's try 5 and 6.
I have that one doesn't work.
Well, 5 and 6, but can I get 5 and 6 to be a 13?
Yeah.
Nope.
You gotta carry the 1.
How about 2 and 15?
That's
Okay, well, at first you might not think that because 2 plus 15 is 17, but one has to be positive and one has to be negative, so 2 and negative 15.
Oh my god. So it's 2 and it's so confusing.
Okay, grab a whiteboard. You can go to Mrs. McDonald, you can go to Mrs. McDonald, go for it.
All of your stuff?
Yeah, if this is too confusing for you, you can go down there.
I got you.
Get a whiteboard, we're gonna practice.
Just make sense.